Hey guys, Carmine here. Now, if you guys were reading my E3 reviews, you'll notice that I said that I actually got to play Rainbow Six Siege, and I actually meant I got to play Rainbow Six Siege, not watch people play it, but actually sit down and take control of the game and play it. And so I'm going to spend some time talking about how much, what was good, what was bad, what I liked about it, and what I didn't like about it, and what I'm hoping to see in the very near future. And you're going to get some information here that you're not going to get very many other places. This is the kind of thing where I had to talk my way into an exclusive VIP demonstration of it, and that was just a hands-off demonstration. And then after that demonstration was done, I had to talk my way into being able to actually play the game. So I'm probably one of maybe about 100 or maybe a little bit more people total that I've gotten to play this game. And most of those have been executives or friends of executives of Ubisoft. So if you guys have taken a look at the gameplay footage, the gameplay trailer that was shown at the press conference, you'll actually it's a good thing you should see it. It shows you a lot of what they have so far. The game is still very early in development. They only had one level, some very basic user interface. It was very basic overall. But what they did have was awesome. It was really cool. I mean, this is Counter-Strike on a whole new level. Now, if you guys have played previous Rainbow Six games, I've been talking about the older ones, you'll remember that a lot of it had to do with pre-planning and tactics and strategies and knowing what your team was doing before time and coordinating your breaches. And this game sort of ties the Rainbow Six faster pace, breaching and clearing kind of stuff with that older style of strategy and pre-planning. It's a very interesting system. Basically what happens is the terrorists start up, or whoever has the hostage is going to start up first, so it's usually the terrorists, and they're going to select which room they want to start in. They had a list of, I think, 4 rooms from what I remember in this one house. And the house can look fairly small if you're looking at it, but it's actually deceptively large. What makes it larger is that it's 3 full stories. You have the top floor, which is sort of bedrooms, mostly bedrooms, and I think a bathroom. The main floor, which is the first floor, which has a kitchen area, a dining room, and a couple of other areas, and then a bottom floor, which is mostly the garage and sort of a little gym room. And so the terrorists pick which room they want to actually play and start into, and so the hostage starts there with them, and then the terrorists will start putting up barricades and reinforcements and all that kind of stuff. And so one of the questions that one of my friends asked me is, when you're the terrorists, how do you not see the little drones the counter-terrorists are controlling? Because the counter-terrorists are actually controlling these little rolly drones in real time, and they can go into the house and under every single doorway and under every barricade and take a look at where the terrorists are setting up, where the hostage is, and all that. And it's actually surprisingly difficult to see the drone. Even me knowing that the drone is there and that the counter-terrorists are going around doing their own thing, I never actually saw the little drones that they're rolling around. They blend in pretty well with all the clutter and debris that's on the ground. The only times you can definitely see the thing is when the hostage actually looks at the drone camera and says, "Rescue me." Like the thing that they showed in the press conference, the gameplay footage, that actually does happen. The hostage does come up to you and say, "Come help me." And there's a lot of cool stuff that I don't know if you guys caught it, but you can set up you can reinforce walls, you can reinforce windows. Reinforcing walls basically makes it so that normally you can shoot through walls or breach through walls, but reinforcing that wall makes it so that it's extremely difficult to shoot through it. It's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. And you can also, certain classes of the terrorists can set up a sort of a low metal cover. It's basically a plate shield that is static, so you can't actually move it. Once you set it, it's set there. But the thing that you do with that is you try and set it up into corridors or some other or doorways, places where you're going to try and hide behind and shoot out and surprise the enemies. And it's fairly effective if you crouch and cover behind it, but once you stand up, your whole head and upper body is exposed, so it's pretty difficult to actually use it effectively. Then once the terrorists are set up, there's a certain time limit they have. The counter-terrorists breach through whatever they choose, and we had a number of different options of where we wanted to breach through, but the way it broke down in the user interface was that you either broke through the north side of the house, the front entrance, or you broke through the back of the house where there's a construction area. Now, we didn't have access to the sniper. I don't know if you guys saw the sniper gameplay in the gameplay footage, but we did not have access to that class. We had a 3 or 4 different classes, and most of them seem relatively similar, but the main reason why you're picking a different class is for the primary weapon that you wanted. One class had a shotgun, one class had a submachine gun, one class had an assault rifle, and for the counter-terrorists, one class had the ballistic shield with just a pistol. Now the shield was by far the most useful piece of equipment and weapon in the game, because you could actually cover a good part of your body in front of you, and in those tight corridors and doorways, that was a very, very effective tool to use against the terrorists. It didn't completely cover you, but when I tried using the shield as a counter-terrorist, I found it to be extremely effective. The shotgun, we did get a number of kills with the shotgun, but it didn't have that long range sort of stopping power, and if you try and fire it at a wall at medium range, it won't actually penetrate the walls. And that's another thing. Pretty much every single wall that I tried shooting at was destructible, just like they showed in the gameplay footage. I was really surprised by that, because normally walls will break off in chunks, and it's a pre-planned sort of destruction. But with this one, where you shoot is actually where the wall gets destroyed. It's pretty awesome. The thing that I found was that submachine guns and shotguns in most cases could not actually penetrate the wall unless you were very, very close. If you tried firing from a distance, you weren't going to penetrate the wall, you'd just get the bullet decal on the wall. We used the Xbox controller, Xbox 360 controller. That was the only thing they had set up. I wanted to use the mouse and keyboard since that's the normal thing that I play with, but they didn't have that completely configured yet. So like I said, this is a very, very early in development, and it's clear that they want to develop a whole lot more with this. They want to get some more maps and get that sniper class in there, develop new scenarios, probably new game modes, which I think would be interesting. The one thing that wasn't accurate that they showed in the gameplay footage, it wasn't really accurate at all, other than the sniper, was the idea that you're going to be going through the house and going through every single floor and taking that hostage and going down to the bottom floor and the top floor and all that. That doesn't really happen. At least as new players, we had one of the developers as our squad leader, kind of helping us and holding our hand as we went through. But as new players, all we wanted to do was put up our fortifications, hunker down, and let the counter-terrorists come to us. Or as counter-terrorists, try and breach through at the same floor as the terrorists, and then try and take them on head-on. We didn't do any of the crazy stuff like breaching from the ceiling and all that. I don't remember exactly how those sheet charges worked. I don't think we ever actually tried using them other than on the walls for our initial breach. But overall, it was an excellent experience. It has a ton of potential. It's not. I love the single player stuff. That being said, this is an excellent multiplayer. This is a great multiplayer. This is Counter-Strike brought to a whole new level. So if you guys like multiplayer styles like Counter-Strike, it is a single life elimination mode. So once you die, that's it for the round. You can't be revived. You can get injured, and I think you can get up if you are injured. But that's that's one of the things that usually when you shot an enemy, you made sure that they were down and they stayed down for good. The only thing that I think was a little bit confusing when I was playing was the way that the hostage worked. For instance, you can actually injure the hostage in the course of the firefight. Using it as a human shield isn't really a good idea because the hostage can get injured. And I don't know exactly how that worked, but there were a number of occasions where we had to actually revive the hostage. What was confusing to me is I wasn't sure what happened if the enemy team downed the hostage. Do they have to revive it? It seemed like every time we played, we had to revive the hostage if she got injured. It wasn't a major issue, but I think some clarity in that sort of encounter would have been very helpful. Overall, this game was extremely fun. It was very strategic and very team-oriented, so if you have a good organized team that knows the layout and knows the weapons and knows their skills and their strengths and their weaknesses, they're going to dominate. That being said, new players can definitely get into the game and at least try it. I would like to see some AI so that new players could actually practice with these modes and be able to practice together. That may or may not happen, but I always like being able to practice with AI. It's one of the advantages of having Counter-Strike, being able to get used to those levels with those AI enemies. And AI teammates would also be very, very helpful. And I think that some better differentiation between the weapons and classes and being able to actually pick, not necessarily have set classes like they do right now, but being able to customize my loadout based on my style. Personally, I like having the heavier armor so I can take more hits. But I also don't like having to have a submachine gun or a pistol all the time. I may want to take an assault rifle or maybe a light machine gun. I like the heavier weapons to be able to take that to chew through walls and take out enemies. Light machine guns may not make sense in this particular case. Those are made for a distance combat with heavy suppressive fire. In this case, because the house is destructible, you may not want to have one player mowing down every single wall with one particular weapon and 100 rounds of ammunition. But that's up to the developers. They can figure out how exactly to do that. I love the destructibility. I want that to be a staple on every single map that's created. So no matter what kind of map it is, no matter what kind of building or structure it is, I like that destructibility. I want to be able to continue with that. And more game modes would be very helpful. I like the hostage situation, but doing a bomb defusal type scenario, just like Counter-Strike has, would be a lot of fun to do. That's all I got for now. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment on this video. And if not, I'll see you guys later.